Hello, everyone. Welcome to a Monday night edition of Supptalk Radio. We go back to the origins of the brand, learning about new and upcoming companies. Today, we are joined by owner Juan Salazar of Gainz Express, a brand new up and coming company. Juan, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Man, I couldn't be better. I couldn't be better. It's 7 o'clock here. I know it's 6 in your neck of the woods, but
Yeah.
it's a pleasure, man. I love meeting new people, learning about new products, philosophies, everything else.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on, man. I really appreciate this opportunity. It's gonna be a great one.
So, Juan, as I always like to start off, give the listeners a little bit about you. Like, were you an athlete? Anything that what was your entrance into nutrition and supplementation?
So I started working out whenever I was 16 because whenever I was like in middle school into early high school, I tend to struggle with my weight. And then I never forget I saw the movie Fight Club
Okay,
with Brad Pitt. And as sure as everybody knows, once you see that movie, you're like, I gotta go work out. And I just went like all the way working out when I was 16, and then 17. No, in high school, I was still working out as well too. And then I didn't dabble into supplements until I turned 18. And my first supplement that I tried was protein powder.
really?
And
Okay,
I did a little bit of cross country whenever I was in a senior.
okay,
So I did cross country for a little bit, but then I just got tired of running and running and running and running. I didn't feel any kind of satisfaction from it.
yep.
So I went back to weights, and that's where I just felt that I felt welcomed every time.
So you said you had a problem with weight. Were you skinny or overweight, or like which end of the spectrum?
I was overweight.
Okay,
Yeah.
and it was just a personal thing. Just didn't like the way you looked and said, I want to kind of better myself, or
It was a bit of that. And then also, like I said, just seeing Fight Club, I was like, man, I want to look like that. I have to put some kind of muscle on to look like that. Like, yeah.
but it's funny because that is a classic movie. Everybody's seen it, or so if you haven't, you should see it. But
Yes.
back then, when we're young, we say Brad Pitt ripped to shreds. But now, as I look at it in hindsight, I'm like, I think he's too skinny and too emaciated. As weird as that sounds.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like it's just the lighting and the angles. When
Yep.
you get older, you start realizing it. And it's funny because I had a conversation yesterday with my friend Chris, and I was telling him like, hey, you like every person has to see this movie at
Of
least
course.
once. You have to watch Fight. It still holds up to, now currently. It's just as good.
And the funny thing is, 20 years later, Brad Pitt still almost looks the same.
Oh yeah, man, the man's got great genetics. He hit the lotto with those genetics.
I say him and Tom Cruise. I don't know if they have good genes or good plastic surgeons. As weird as that sounds.
I'll take either one.
So now you're dabbling in protein,
Mhm.
okay, and are you getting into other things, pre-workouts, thermogenics, anything else, or are you strictly a protein guy?
So first thing I want to do was the protein, and then I already have the pre-workout. It's ready.
Oh, no, I mean for you. I mean when you were
Oh, okay, well, yeah,
supplementing
yeah.
yourself
So
pre-business.
yeah, so for me, whenever I started dabbling into protein, I did protein for a little bit just because I was just always cooking chicken left and right. So
Okay,
then I started, trying to supplement it with protein, and then maybe like about a year or two later, I dabbled into pre-workouts.
okay,
And then when I started doing pre-workouts, I started just testing my body just to see what was going to work and what wouldn't work. And then, I took some time off of everything for a little bit, for a couple years. And then once I got back in, I had a lot more insight as to what was going to work for my body and what I would want to look for.
okay.
And pretty much from there, that's when I just started going back into protein powders and pre-workouts, but as far and creatine as well too. But as far as like the other stuff like fat burners or whether it was amino acids like BCAAs, I didn't really mess with those a lot.
What was the first pre-workout you dabbled in?
It was NO Explode.
Oh, okay, that was a hard hitter. Was that so? Did
Yeah.
you enjoy it off the bat, or was it kind of
No, I hated it so much. Yeah,
okay?
it had a weird taste, and it just I didn't like it at all.
Was it based on what was hot at the moment? Did one of your friends get you into it, or kind of what was the impetus to get that one?
It was kind of I went to a nutrition store and I didn't know much about what I wanted at first, and then they just kind of
Yeah.
like sold me this one. I think it was on sale. They were selling me that one, and yeah, I regretted it. It tasted really bad. I think it was the grape flavor too.
It's funny because you asked me in one of my stories. I mean, I'm on out. What was you didn't use word peeves, but it was something along the lines of what were some of the things that I maybe disliked. I forget exactly what you said about the
Right.
industry.
Yeah.
And that was, I think things have been better, but I think back in the day, a lot of the vitamin stores and whatnot, it was more of whatever was selling. They didn't get to know you or question what you were looking for. It was like, hey, I'm looking for a pre-workout. Oh, great, this is selling here. Not what's your caffeine tolerance. Are you looking for pump? You looking for memory? What are you looking for? So I think that's come a lot better. But that was one of my peeves back in the day. Is people ask, well, what do you recommend for a pre-workout? And everyone's saying Jack 3D and Mesomorph and
I
stuff
remember
that light your
Jack
hair on
3D too.
fire.
I took Jack 3D a couple times, and I remember that Jack 3D just blew me out of my mind. I was like, whoa, it was a different feeling. No, and it's crazy though, because I think there's still some stores that still have that mentality of like, we're just going to push our product, even though you know what you want, we're going to push you into what we have and what we are getting paid to sell the most of, like this is what we want to get you with. And it still happens somewhat, but you're absolutely right. Yeah. That's something that needs to change.
Back in the day, I used to run a vitamin store, and they would get, a lot of people know this, some people don't, they would get commissions on kind of the product of the month.
Right.
So it was almost, okay, we're going to push it regardless. But again, that's the one thing I do love about social media and the internet and everything else. There's so much information, but there's a lot of good stuff out there if you know where to look.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's like the network, once you start looking into one and you start discovering another one, and start discovering another one. And there's definitely a lot more trial and error that you can do to where it makes it easier for you to narrow down what you really want.
Exactly. So fast forward, somehow or another, you decide to be crazy and you decide you want to jump into what I call the supplement pool. Why?
Mm-hmm. Really? So it's a twofold reason. So the first reason was because I started noticing there's like a lack of consistency as far as whether it's the formula or the flavor or the texture of your protein powders.
Okay.
So I remember taking Dymatize whenever it was the black bottle with the silver label.
Yeah.
So I was taking Dymatize since then, and I was also taking Optimum Nutrition. And the crazy part about it was that I think like maybe a year or two later, I started noticing that the flavor was different. I was ordering the same kind. It's just the flavor was different and the texture was different, and everything just felt different. And to me, I was just like, why is there so much? Why is it not consistent? Like I don't understand what's going on. So then I went to another brand, and I was good for a while, and then I started noticing that it was just the same thing too. So I was like, okay, things keep changing, and I don't understand why. So then when I started delving a little bit deeper, and when I started, doing the supplement, doing the protein powder, I started realizing, oh, they're moving manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're moving manufacturers to see which one could cut costs the best, or they're just altering the formula to be able to cut costs.
Yep.
And I'm not knocking it in any way, but it's just stuff like that I think consumers should know about. If we're buying the product, we should know about what's going on. Yeah. And for me, I just got tired of having to deal with that, and I kept getting tired of having to shop around left and right. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? If I'm getting tired of it, I either gotta do something about it or just shut up and deal with it. And for me, I was like, I'm gonna do something about it, and that's where I started at. And then the second part was also, I initially had and planned to open up a small little nutrition store right next to a gym that I go to, because there was an office lease that was like on lease for a while, and I already had the mind of like making something already. I just didn't have it full-fledged in my head, and I didn't really have to push as far as that. But then once I started kind of talking about the idea, I was talking about, I would want this brand here, I want this brand here, I could sell this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
I had a friend of mine tell me, hey, look, you already know what you want. Why would you want to sell another brand? Just sell yours. You know what you want. You already have an idea of what you want, and you have a lot of experience already in taking different types of protein powders. Why not just make your own? And then the light bulb just kind of like flickered on even more. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I think I should just try it. Screw it.
Okay. So now walk me through your steps here of, okay, so now you have in your head, whether it's in your head or on paper, you want to do a protein powder, which I have to say, you might be the only person I know to date that drops a protein powder as their very first product.
Because, oh, wow, really?
Yes, because I'm going to rip the curtain open here, whether people know this or not, and you probably know this.
Mm.
People generally go for pre-workout because that's the hot item. Okay, it's smaller, the markup is bigger, the shipping is cheaper.
Right.
Okay, and they play closer to. I mean, let's face it. When you look at categories, pre-workout is probably the number one category,
Right.
and most people go to protein 3, 4, 5 SKUs into the line.
Right.
Okay,
And
come
I
on, what
also
were you
too, I think
thinking? You're a
something else that
madman.
it's something else that you mentioned too on your previous story before was that the white labeling.
Okay.
That also plays a big part too, because this is something that manufacturers also spoke with me about, was that whenever you do like a white label product, you get like a wider selection at a cheaper rate
Mm-hmm.
because it's all done for you. It's like what you mentioned before. It's a template, right?
Pick it out of catalog.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So they give you like a template, and from the template, you can make little alterations if you want, but nonetheless, it's their base formula, and from there, you get a cheaper rate. Because whenever I was making my protein powder, manufacturers offered me the white label product, their white label product, and they told me you would get a faster turnaround. It's going to be a
Yep.
lot cheaper, and your MOQ is going to be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
But no, absolutely, yeah. Like the pre-workouts it was just the standard thing that everybody did. Once you get your first product in, your first product is going to be your pre-workout. I didn't want to do
Yep.
that. I just didn't want to.
Okay.
But I wanted to do the protein powder first because you're right, it's more expensive. It's more expensive to do a protein powder because gram for gram it costs more.
Yes.
And for me, I was like, what better way for me to be more committed into what I'm doing
Okay.
than to start with an expensive product first? That's going to
Smart.
be generally harder to sell because protein powder is just 30 servings, and most of the time you're not going to drink it all the time. You're going to have other varieties of protein powders. So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, if I'm going to do a difficult one first, I have to. If I can't, that's the best way to prove that I'm committed to what I'm doing.
Okay.
Go difficult first.
Love it. So you're as a business owner, you should be all in, but you really are all in.
Right. Yeah. Like I'm all in. Like this stuff is self-funded. Like this is all me paying for it. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm all the way into it. Yeah. But the
So now
second
how
product that I have is already it's almost ready. It's just, but we can go with that a little bit
yeah,
later.
we'll
But
talk about that in a minute here. So talk about your process now you have in your mind.
Mhm.
Okay, because there's a lot of people. So a lot of people always think about they have in their mind, do I want to open up a brand? What do I need to do? So if you don't mind, Juan, peel back the curtain a little bit. Like you think about your protein.
Mhm.
How are you finding a vendor? Let's start off first. How are you finding a vendor or manufacturer?
So the one thing I did was I pretty much Googled it. I Googled what
Okay.
a manufacturers in the US pretty much, or just in the US, and then from there I just kind of like clicked on each manufacturer. I sent a bunch of emails just trying to figure out what's your MOQ. And
Yep.
for people that don't know, MOQ is minimum order quantity. And I wanted to do a low minimum order quantity because
Of course.
I'm gonna house this stuff here at my house, and I want to make sure I'm not taking up a lot of space.
Yep.
And it I was narrowed down to about maybe four or five manufacturers that I
Okay.
was emailing all of them. And then from there they would just ask you like, what if you want a custom formula, you got to send me what you need,
Okay.
or you can just go with our formula and just slap your logo on it, and that's it.
Okay.
And for me, I was like, no, if I'm gonna have a brand, it has to be me. Everything has to be me.
Sure.
I want to make sure that I'm not giving you just a pretty much a copy and paste. No, this is gonna be my formula. This is gonna be exactly what I want. So
Yep.
that way, I'm not reading a script saying like, oh well, it has this, it has this, it has this. No, I know exactly off the top of my head what it is.
Okay.
And from there, once you tell the manufacturer what you want, you would they'll send you a quote. And pretty much, once you agree to the quote, then you got to pay for the sample price. And then from the sample
Sure.
price, you pay for the sample. They create your sample, and then from there, you just got to see if that works. If not, you got to revise it and start all over again as far as the sample process.
Did you already have in your mind that you wanted to do a blend?
Yes, yeah, I already had in my
Okay.
mind what I wanted because, I'm sure everybody knows, but if in case they don't know, You want to get concentrate and isolate. You want to get both of them as far as whey protein. You want to get the isolate and concentrate because the concentrate's going to help you out with the flavor. It's going to help you out with the consistency, and it's going to help you deliver all those essential amino acids that your body's going to need. And the concentrate is going to help you cut those calories at a very lower rate. So you got to figure out a balancing act as far as what you would want. That's just my opinion, though.
So now, did you go into this? Now, here's another. As we talk, there's another peeve of mine when it comes to supplement companies. Most supplement companies are transparent labeled. Okay, 90% of the line is, but their proteins are not.
So I'm so glad that you said that, because I kind of like roll my eyes when I hear that. I roll my eyes when I hear that whenever they say like, "Oh, we're transparent. We have this. We have no proprietary blends." But your protein powder is a proprietary blend because it says blend, and then you don't list exactly what is on there.
Yep.
So it technically is a proprietary blend, technically.
Yes.
And it's like there's nothing wrong with it. If you want to have a proprietary blend, that's your business, but you shouldn't promote it as that if that's the case.
Yes.
If you're a transparent brand, you have to be transparent all the way, in my opinion.
I agree. So I'm going to grab here because hopefully my screen. So. Okay.
That is a beautiful color on the protein powder.
So now it is. So I want to go ahead and get it right here. So it's. Want to help me out here? Okay, so it's 90% whey protein isolate, yielding 18.89 grams, and it's whey protein concentrate at 80% at 10 grams.
Yes, sir.
Which is fantastic because again, that yields just a hair under 29 grams. You've got 2 grams of carbs, which is pretty much standard. I mean, anything between 1 and 2, 3 grams is standard. You've got less than 1 gram of fat. You've also got lactospore, which I've never heard before. Share that with us. I've never heard of that before.
So lactospore is a probiotic from Bacillus coagulans, which is pretty much a probiotic that helps you break down any kind of lactose issues that you have whenever you're taking a protein powder, whether it's gas, bloating, stuff like that. Upset stomach. The probiotic is there to assist in digestion. Absorption with that. So it's going to help you with absorbing all that without the bad effects, if you will.
Okay, and you've also got Digizem in here, which I appreciate. That I know what that is. So it's nice to see, obviously, some additionals to a protein powder.
Yeah, and it's crazy because like I always feel like you need that. Like if you're taking a protein powder and you claim that it's a quality protein powder, you should have either digestive enzymes or probiotics or both. If you have both, then you're winning all the way. But if you at least have one of them, because you want to make the process as easy as you can for someone's body.
Exactly. So let's talk flavor. Did you have that flavor in mind, or was that kind of something else that you were still going back and forth with?
So the flavor was kind of funny because the initial flavor, the flavor profile name was going to be cookies and cream. That was the initial flavor. But once I got the one that you have right now, that's from sample number 2 from the manufacturer that I'm with, right? So whenever I started taste testing the sample, and I had like a bunch of people taste test sample with me, the one thing that I was kind of like stuck with, I was like, this isn't. I don't think this is a cookies and cream. This tastes more like a chocolate chip cookie. I could be wrong.
Yes.
And I started. So I had everybody that taste tested with me. I told them, I was like, let me know if this tastes more like cookies and cream or chocolate chip cookie, because the one thing that kind of makes it or breaks it with other protein powders is the flavor name. The flavor name doesn't match the flavor profile.
Bingo.
And I was like, I got to make sure that this is going to be right, because I don't want to look like a dum-dum over here and, get the wrong flavor. And I want to say it was about 90% of people that said, no, this tastes like chocolate chip cookie. We even took a Chips Ahoy cookie and we ate it, and we did it with the Oreo too, to see what was going to be closer. And it was Chips Ahoy. So I was like, okay, this is a chocolate chip cookie. So then I was like, okay, chocolate chip cookie. And I was thinking, like, I got to find a way to make this even more creative. Crunch. Chocolate chip cookie crunch, because it's crunchy pieces. I was like, okay, now let me see what I can do with the logo, with the flavor image. Let them do crunches. It's my 2 pugs doing crunches. Okay. So I was like, chocolate chip cookie crunch, and they're doing crunches. And I was like, this is so cheesy, but I love it. It's me. This is who I am.
You know what though, and that's okay though, because it actually will stick out a little bit further. So I'm gonna go ahead and quickly share here because obviously I couldn't get a good picture because of my screen here. But
Mhm.
yeah, so do you own pugs? You said you own pugs,
Yeah,
correct?
I have two pugs. They're Jackie and Kelso. If you're familiar with that 70 show,
Yeah.
they're
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Jackie and Kelso. Yeah. So Jackie is the black pug and Kelso is the brown pug.
Okay. As long as you didn't name it Hyde.
Oh man, we're looking at a third pug later on, and yeah, no, we might have to go with Eric, either Eric, Don, or Fez. Yeah, we're gonna have to go with
Okay.
one of those. But yeah,
So now who did your labels?
so as far as the design,
Yeah, designs.
so this is where it kind of like you live and learn, and it was my first go around, and most of the time, whenever you're doing everything solo, as far as like doing everything custom made, the manufacturer is kind of like, all right, well, here you figure it out. Here's the bill. You figure out the rest, which I
Yep.
understand. I understand the manufacturer's got like hundreds of clients to worry about. I don't got time to hold your hand and babysit you throughout all the way. So I was like, I had to figure it out. So I had an idea. I use Canva a lot. Uh,
Okay.
the the website Canva. So I was using Canva, and I made a somewhat of a draft label,
Okay.
but I didn't know how to do Adobe Illustrator. I'm not good with the technical
Okay.
side, so you have to create text outlines, turning all your text into images,
Yep.
and you have to format everything into an AI file. So I pretty much outsourced it to a freelancer, and it just became a complete crap show. I don't want to curse, but
We're open. We're adults. It's okay.
it became a shit show. It was a shit
Okay.
show. Like I was I was way over my head with it. I was so frustrated because he gave me the first label, the way it looked, and I was like, okay, we got to make some changes here and there. And then it just looked like afterward he just started throwing everything at a wall. He was throwing shit at a wall, seeing what would
Oh,
stick.
jeez.
And
Okay.
I was like, okay, change this, change this, change this, change this. And he would make the change, but it wasn't where I needed it to be. So then I was like, you know what? Let me give me a day and I'll get back with you. So
Yep.
I
Were you
made the
paying
label
him? Were you
myself
paying him one by the hour or by the project?
by the project.
That's why. Okay, because you're
Yeah.
paying him by the hour, there'd be more investment. Yep.
Yeah. And as far as by the project, now that I know when it's by the project, he's gonna try to get it done as fast as he can so he can get his money.
Yep. Yep.
And so within that day, I made that label and I had about like 3 or 4 people, just kind of like side check me. I had like 4 different designs of that specific label that you have. I have 4 different versions of it. And I had some people excuse me, like check it with me and see which one was going to work. So that
Okay.
one was the final one. So I sent it to him and I said, here, look, all you got to do is copy and paste it on Adobe Illustrator. That's all you got to do.
Yep.
And it still wasn't done right.
Oh,
So then I
jeez.
had to tell him like, okay, like this is becoming a headache, dude. I kind of had to like yell at him over the phone, and I kind of, it got a little tense. I got
Yeah.
hot
Yeah.
headed at first because I was like, dude, I did the work for you. Just format it, put it in the file. That's all you got to
Yeah.
do. And he finally did it, and from there I was like, I'm never doing this again, never.
Yeah. It's tough because a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. Like another guest we had, a gentleman from a company called Empire Supplements.
Yeah, I saw the
He went
video.
out,
Yeah, he used
he went
I
to
think it was
Fiverr.
Fiverr.
He
Yeah,
went to Fiverr, so he kind of had similar pains that you did.
yeah. I saw the interview, and it was a great interview. And yeah, once I started hearing him talking about it, I was like, I can completely relate. But it's crazy though, because I have had some good quality stuff from Fiverr. It was Upwork that I used,
Yeah. Okay.
and but Fiverr, they're the ones that I had someone redo my logo image, and Fiverr was the one that redid the new logo that is on my Instagram page now.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
mean, it's a bit of a hit and miss. I just
Yep.
think that once you get a good one, just you got to stick with it all the way.
Yeah, that's how I am. I have a couple of good people on Fiverr. I have different stuff for.
Yeah.
But one, as you're going through this process, are you friends with anybody in the industry? Are you doing this blind, or do you have any soundboards? Anybody in the industry to help you out?
No, this is all done by me. Yeah. This first project was all done by me, and I just had some good honest people as far as like personal side.
Yep.
On the personal side, just to help me double check myself, correct myself, if something wasn't right, I kind of just leaned towards them for guidance.
Okay.
Like they had nothing to do, and they don't know the industry, they don't know nothing about it, but they were just very honest with me. So they would be like, nah, I'm not liking this one. I'm not liking that one, you know?
Yeah. Okay.
So I only had that. I had to make it work pretty much with that.
So when you're we're gonna go back a step here. When you're auditing the manufacturers,
Mhm.
was it the price? What made you go with the person that's doing your stuff now?
So, the reason why I went with the manufacturer that I have now is for a couple reasons. One, I have his cell phone number specifically, so I can get in direct contact with him, which is nice to have.
Yep.
And another big factor was that he was able to work with me on the price,
Okay.
mainly because he quoted me for a different amount of protein, and then once we found out that there was a billing error, he had to readjust it, and he didn't charge me extra for it.
Oh, interesting.
So
Okay.
I was like, since you're doing me a solid, that's great. I appreciate it, and I'll do my best to stick with you. And
Did you?
also too, it helps that he's in Spring, Texas. So
Oh,
Spring,
okay.
Texas is like 30 minutes away from me.
Oh, nice.
So
Okay.
it saves me the shipping cost because I can just go pick it up.
So did you actually get to visit the manufacturer then?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I visited the manufacturer. We did I was there for maybe about 3 hours.
Good for you.
He was giving me a tour. It's a small facility,
Yep.
but it's very thorough and it's very ran through. Uh, they're in compliance with everything, and yeah, it's just very thorough. It's like a mom and pop kind of manufacturer, and I've never seen so many people like double check each other on
Yep.
every single thing. Like all their batch reports are just there's like 4 or 5 different signatures of everybody cross checking each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So kudos to you because that's another thing that I'm not pro, I'm not against, but a lot of people, a lot of companies out there, the smaller companies that are up and coming, they don't visit their manufacturer because they don't have the funds to get on a plane. It's not in their backyard, so they're really just going blind and hoping that
yeah,
they get what they want, get what it's on time, and it's not just you hear somebody in their bathtub making a product for you.
yeah. I would say it's kind of like the same analogy as like giving your product to a random affiliate marketer and just like a random influencer like, here, take my stuff, promote it. I don't know who you are, here, just take it. But it's like, no, I got to know who you are. I got to build a relationship with you. I got to know exactly who you are. I got to know what kind of I even brought a notepad as like an interview. Whenever I met him, I had like a notepad with like 2 pages full of questions
That's awesome.
because I wanted to ask him every single thing that I could ask him, so that way we're all on the same page. And it was even to the point where I asked him, I was like, let me know what you need from me. Whatever you
Yeah.
need from me, I'll get it done as soon as I possibly can. And let me know like what kind of lines are like, there's a line right here, you cannot cross this line.
Yep.
And yeah, he was very open with me. He gave me some pointers, and he gave me some things to just to look out for.
It's a gut feel. I know people's instinct is to go for the price, but again, it's those little additional touches, like you're saying, where here's my cell phone, and I know you're a smaller upcoming company. Your MOQ is going to be a lot less, but I still want to work with you. Let me help you through the process. I know you're a newbie, and I mean that respectfully. I know you're a newbie, but let me help you with the process, the lookouts, what the pitfalls and stuff, and that's important.
Yeah, and so I mean, just for full disclosure, and I'm all about being transparent. It's a company called Master Blends.
Okay.
So, like I said, they're located in Spring. Big thanks to Ryan. He's the one that's helped me with. I mean, not Ryan, Robert. Like, big thanks to him. So he's helped me out a lot. And whenever I sat down with him, we had a long conversation. And like I said, took the tour, and he told me a lot of this stuff. Like, he even told me flat out, like, look, I'm not saying that you're not going to be that, but we have had companies that come in, do one run with us, they'll leave, they'll take their product that we made and they'll take it to another manufacturer to duplicate it, but they can't duplicate it because we do our flavors different. We may source from the same area, but
Yep.
we manufacture and mix it and blend it differently.
Okay.
And they'll probably do it because and I remember he was telling me, he was like, they'll probably do it to save maybe a couple cents per unit. Whatever they can do to cut costs, they'll do that. But then they end up coming right back to us because then they start realizing that, like there's a loss of communication, maybe the shipping is
Yep.
bad, the logistics side of it is bad, and they end up coming back to us.
And then to go all the way back to the beginning of the conversation, people will go ahead and buy your original run. not you, but they buy an original run, and now they're buying the new manufacturer's run. They're going to taste the difference,
Yeah.
and it's like, is it better? Is it worse? That they want to gamble and try a third barrel, hoping that it's the right run or the right taste.
Right. Like when I did my protein powder, so I was down to like 4 or 5, and then I ended up narrowing it down to 2. It was either Master Blends or another company called NutriCaps.
Yep. Okay.
And so what I did was I ordered samples. So let me get samples from this company and let me get samples from this company. And I'm going to do a comparison myself. And I want to see exactly how different y'all are. And let me see how different the flavor is. Everything's I want to see for myself how much it is. And then once I started doing that, I started like understanding a lot more, like, wow, I could see now. I know now I'm on the lookout. If something's different with the protein powder, I know exactly what it is now. There's a good chance that they just moved to manufacturer.
Yep.
And so I started sampling, I started taste testing, and I was like, man, like NutriCaps, they're just not doing it for me. And it's nothing towards them, it's just maybe it's just something lost of communication.
Sure.
But no, I ordered I think like 3 samples from NutriCaps, and none of them, it had like a weird smell. To me, when I'm tasting the protein powder or when I open a protein powder jar, the first thing I'm gonna look at is, first thing I'm gonna notice is the smell. It has to smell good. If it smells bad or if it smells questionable, 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna enjoy it.
Of course.
And all of theirs had like this weird pepper smell.
Oh, interesting.
And it had like a plastic smell. And I wasn't a fan of it. And they couldn't get the flavor down right. The flavor was they just made small alterations off of what I wanted.
Yeah.
And when I went to Master Blends, the first one, when we did the cookies and cream, it was way more vanilla than it was cookies.
Okay.
And once we made the change, it was what you have right now. And I was like, this is amazing. This is incredible.
Yes.
And it was even so good that I even asked the manufacturer, hey, look, I want to move forward with this one, but I still have, because when you order samples from a manufacturer, you get 3 most of the time. So that was sample number 2. And I was like, can I, on the third sample, since I already paid for the samples, could I just get another one of that? I want to keep taste testing with people. It's so good.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, no problem. I got you. No problem. We'll send it over. And
nice.
Yeah, and that was the one part that was the fun part with me, was having a bunch of people taste test and sample with me.
Just sitting around your dining room table or what?
No, I was well, if I went to the gym or if I was at work,
okay,
I would have people from the gym and work taste test with me. I wanted them to like get like honest opinions,
Yep.
And it was people that I didn't know, and now I have great relationships with, whether
That's
it's
awesome.
from work or whether it's from the gym, just building the community part. And I was like, look, I want you to taste test it. I want you to try it, because if you do end up buying it, you know exactly what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And I don't want to move forward yet until everybody's on the same page.
Yep.
Because if I get 40 people to taste test, and let's say like 38 of them say it's good and 2 say it's bad, then I'm okay with that. But if 10 people say it's good and 20 people say it's bad, then I'm like, okay, we got to rearrange something. We got to do something different.
It actually works out to your benefit that things didn't work out with NutriCaps, because they're, for people that don't know, they're here in New York and Long Island, because I know exactly kind of where they are. So for you, it would be like a plane trip and everything else. So again, it's a safer bet for you having them in your backyard. You got any issues, like you said, you get in your car and you drive right over, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah, no, that was the best part about it. That's why I stuck with them, and the pre-workout that I have working on is from them too.
Nice. So you finally lock in the flavor. You place your order. When do you finally get your order in? You actually have a physical product in your hand.
Yeah, so I didn't have it yet until it was maybe middle of August. Like the whole conversation, the whole dialogue started in January.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So from January all the way till August was the dialogue and me getting the final product. It's definitely time consuming, and I'm still learning my patience. I'm still trying to learn how to have more and more patience, because it's definitely taking a long time, and it's like I touched on the video that I did before, where it's like you kind of like you gotta know when you're crossing a line, as far as like constantly checking up on the manufacturer to the point where they're like, okay, look, I'm gonna block your number because you keep texting me every single time.
Okay.
And it's like, you got to kind of understand, okay, I gotta back off a little bit,
But did they tell you that timeline, or were they just behind?
I want to say they're behind, and also too, since it's a small company, they got to when they source their ingredients, they're probably on the back of they're on the bottom of a totem pole, probably, I'm assuming,
Okay.
because they're a
Sure.
smaller company. Just like me,
Yep.
just like me, for example. Like I know my product's not going to get rushed faster because
You've got a low
if I'm
mark.
ordering, if I order 300 units and you got a company that's ordering 10,000 units,
Of course.
realistically, you're going to take care of the 10,000 first.
Yep.
And I understand that. I completely understand it, and I respect it. I have enough self-awareness to understand that now.
And the $1,000,000 question, where'd the name come from?
So this is the part where it kind of like goes back to what you said before on your whenever on your post, on your story, whenever I asked a question. I wanted the brand to be a reflection of me.
Okay.
So the brand is a reflection of me. Like Gainz Express is me. Gainz Express has to be one of the cheesiest fun names I've ever heard, like phrases. And I was like, I'm a fun person. This is gonna be perfect. It's a reflection of me. Like it's so
Okay.
cheesy. Like who doesn't laugh or smile at Gainz Express and you see two pugs toasting muscular with their own blender bottles? Like the cheesiness is like overboard. It's like constipation level cheesy. And I was like,
That's the
this is
patient
me.
level.
This is exactly who I am. I was like, this is great. This has got to be great. I didn't want to go with and this is not a shot, but I didn't want to go with the traditional, like alpha brand or hardcore imagery or
Mhm.
hardcore marketing, like third act of an action movie scene. I didn't want to
Yep.
go. I didn't want to go through none of that. I was like, because then I'm gonna try to live that image, and that's gonna be extremely tiring having to do that because I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah. Okay.
I want to go with some fun and I want to go with some cheesy because it's not like it's not like something that I'm turning on and off.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
who I am
Okay.
nonstop. So
Okay.
that's
So
why. That's why.
how many names did you come up with? Because I know this was not the first name that you said. That's it, brother. I'm locking it in.
No, I think that was it.
Really?
That was the first name. Yeah, Gainz Express.
But now, friends, parents, anybody, were they like, dude, come on?
Not that I know of. No, not that I know of.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah, they just kind of looked at me like, okay, and I was like, you'll understand pretty soon. Like once I explain why, you'll understand pretty soon.
I call it whimsical. I know I use some other terms. I call it whimsical.
Yeah, man. Like it's gonna sound crazy, but you can't take it so hardcore serious. You just really can't. You gotta if you can't have fun with it, then you're really not gonna enjoy it. You gotta have
Yep.
some fun with it. You gotta be able to kind of laugh at it, laugh at yourself, because it makes people feel like, okay, like I feel really comfortable with him because I know he's gonna be completely like who he is. I'm not buying into what the brand is. I'm buying into him because he is the
Yes.
brand and the
Okay.
brand is him. Just like how you mentioned before, like you should be a reflection of your brand.
I mean, let's be honest though. One of the biggest brands over the last 5 years, Ghost.
Mhm.
You
Yeah,
know, you,
Ghost. I think Ghost, like obviously, yeah, their design was a bit of an influence on my design. With
okay.
kind of like the bright colors and just like a vibrant, kind of thing. And I really enjoyed that part. And I was like, it's different. Like you see like lions and you see tigers, you see wolves, and you see stuff like that, like those hardcore imagery stuff.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna go the other way. And I kind of noticed that Ghost went the other way too. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go the other way because now I want to make something to be very eye catching. It's a
Yes.
great product on its own, but I also want it to be eye catching. If it's gonna be different on the product, on the pretty much how the formula is, then I want it to be different all the way.
Okay. Have you done any demos? And have you
Yeah.
taken the
So,
dog? And have you taken a dog with you? Dogs with you?
well, actually, no, I haven't taken the dogs with me yet. No, they once I got the sample, I went to multiple gyms to do samples, to do taste
Okay.
test samples.
Yep.
And I did it with the intention of just having people taste the flavor. I didn't have it with the intention of selling it, but
Sure.
ironically, when people had some people that would taste test it and they would want to buy right then and there.
Yep.
And that was a great feeling that I had because I was like, oh wow. So I mean, big thanks to Lift's Gym in Bengal, um, Invincible Fitness, Steel Mill Houston Gym, like people that opened their doors for me. Like it was a great feeling because it's like you don't have to.
Yep.
And I wanted to make sure like if I'm gonna stand by my brand, then I'm gonna go face to face at these gyms and I'm gonna, lay it all out. Like this is what I have. And it's very difficult to do it with just one product. It's kind of hard because, there'll be some people that'll say, well, I mean, what else do you have? And it's like, well, this is all I have,
Yeah. Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps, of course. And that's the part where I was like, yeah, this is gonna be kind of difficult.
But don't lose focus of that, okay? Because I again, I see so many brands, they come out, they figure I have, 2,000 followers, 3,000 followers. I'm going to put some posts and I'm going to sell right out. And those are the ones that are failing. I mean, get out in front of the gyms, keep that up, set some time aside as you grow. If you got to put a budget together of, to buy a table or something, but that's the only way you're going to get out there. Whether you have somebody come with you, whatever it is.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's something that it was definitely, I would say, like a somewhat of a tough pill to swallow, was because you would see people just running laps, right? And then when you start seeing people running laps, you kind of think to yourself like, okay, am I doing something wrong? Is something not connecting? But then I started realizing that, look, I'm not going with the traditional formula of how people do it. Like, here's the product, here you go, influencer one, influencer two, influencer
Yep.
three, and here's the script, read the script. And like, or just buying followers and stuff like that. I didn't want to go that route because that's not who I am. I'm a very
Yeah.
honest person. I'm a very transparent person, and for me, it was like, if I'm gonna go this route, it's gonna take me a while. It's definitely gonna be a long run. It's gonna be a long journey, but at least I can say that I did it the way that I knew was gonna be the best way to do it, and it was the honest way of doing it.
That's it. And I know we discussed it a little bit on one of the posts of that. I think a brand has to have something affiliated to it, whether it's a mascot, whether it's the owner in front of the camera daily.
Right.
And I know you're living and breathing that because I know it's a pain in the ass, but you're dropping a TikTok or a reel or something every day.
Yeah, so I'm dropping reels Monday through Friday. So I'm trying to drop one video a day on my on the business page and then on the personal page. But the personal page is where I have a lot of fun with. I don't mind like dropping videos left and right because
Yep.
I'll do like the protein snack reviews, protein powder reviews, energy drink reviews, and I have a lot of fun doing that because it's just over the top editing. It's me.
Yep.
And just, and then as far as like the business page, it's more for like updates. It's also just more for stuff as far as like people getting an insight as to what it's really like running a brand from the ground up.
Yep.
It's definitely difficult to do. It's definitely long, lot of patience, but I know a lot of brands just show like the fun part, the profit part. They're not showing the struggles, and I think you have to show the struggles because people can get an insight as to who you are. They can see like, oh, he's just like us. Like, he is like, I can relate to that,
Yeah, and I get that's the only negative part with social media is probably I'm going to throw a random number. Probably 60% of the people on social media are the dream person and not the daily Jane or Joe like you and I. They're struggling, not
Right.
struggling, but going through the struggles.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. And I think that like, it makes it, I guess you could say it's just that brands just sell more to an image. They sell an image or they
Hmm.
sell a lifestyle. And it's like, it's easy to do that because you can just create an image or a lifestyle out of nowhere. You can do
Yep.
it. And it's hard to sell yourself because it takes a lot of like vulnerability to be able to do it.
Yes.
And for me, I'm a very shy person on camera. I'm a very shy person. But after a while, when I started doing it, I started getting a lot better reception out of it. I started, just laying everything out on the table.
Okay.
And it's been working for me pretty decently.
So being a shy person, how many takes do you generally do when you're trying to make a reel? Be honest
Oh
now.
man. Let me tell you something. Like, when I never stutter so much in my life when I'm doing these recordings. I'll just start talking about and I'll look at the camera and I can see my temple like clenching, and I can see like my nostrils flaring because I'm like that. And I gotta keep like editing and cutting down all these. My phone burns really hot because I'm
Yeah,
using it
yeah.
so much, and like I'm running out of data storage, and it's a lot. It takes me about, from the process of recording to editing, at least maybe like 3 or 4 hours, and that's for like a minute and a half video.
I know you said you want to be real, the real person with people. I have a friend that used to do reviews on his YouTube channel, and every once in a while he'd do a blooper reel. He would just take the clips and then get the
Yeah,
clipboard and then it'd be like, oh shit, and then you go to the next one and just like splice them all together. So if you ever want to make something goofy, try to save those and splice them all together.
yeah, no, that's definitely in the works. That's definitely gonna be in the works right there. It's definitely a great concept to have, and I'm just worried that I'm not gonna have enough real time to to cover all those bloopers. Because man, I'll even like hit the table, and you can see like the phone shaking because I'm like, why can't I say the simple word correctly?
Oh my
Yeah, it's
God.
the worst, man. If I get hired as an actor for a movie, I'm gonna fail. They're gonna kick me out of the stage. I already know it.
Just be a stand-in with no lines. You'll be all right.
Yeah, in a zombie movie, yeah.
I know on one of your reels the other day you talked about it. Maybe you could share about it here. Difference maker. I know that's one of your mottos on your T-shirt. Let's talk about that for a minute.
So, like I said, so there's this guy. His name is Chris Rodriguez. He's at work. He said it to me sarcastically. Obviously, he's like, "Hey, you make the difference." And obviously, I knew I wasn't doing nothing at that moment. So I reiterated back to him later on that day, and it just took a life of its own because everybody started saying it, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy!" Like it actually took a life of its own, and then I actually just started saying it in a very positive manner, as like a positive reinforcement.
Yep.
And to me, it was like then I started kind of like overthinking it a lot, and I was like, "Difference maker, make the difference. You make the difference." I was like, I can make a difference. Somehow it unintentionally gave me positive reinforcement, and I was like, I'm gonna make a difference. I'm gonna go and make a difference. And I was
Okay.
like, where can I start at making differences? I looked at the protein brand. I'm like, I'm gonna make a difference with that. I'm gonna
Okay.
make a difference with other people. I'm gonna make a difference in the supplement industry. I don't know how yet. I'm sure I'm making baby steps, but I'm gonna make a difference. There's gonna be a small difference to be made once things start taking off. And
Okay.
the difference maker shirt was an example. So I had obviously I had the Gainz O'Clock shirt first, and then the next shirt I did a vote. Here are the 4
Okay.
designs. Vote on it. Let me know what shirt y'all want next. And the vote was difference maker, and it was in an almond color. And when I talked to the manufacturer about placing the order, I already paid for it and everything. She said that another sales rep sold all of their almond color shirts, so it wasn't going to be in stock for a while.
Okay.
So I was like, shit. I was like, oh, what do I do? So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to take it. I'm not going to solve it myself. Let me take it to the community.
Smart.
And I was like, you know what? Y'all let me know what y'all want to do. We can either go with a different design or we can go with a different color. They said different color. So I was like, all right, what colors y'all want to do? They voted on both of them. It was crazy because it ended up being a 50-50 split on the burgundy and the
Yep.
black. So I
Okay.
was like, all right, this is gonna cost a little bit more money, but I'm gonna see if or maybe I can get with the manufacturer to make it happen. And it worked. And I was like, all right, cool. So we got both colors. But to me, all that to say, like, the next product that I did was voter based.
Yes. Okay.
And, and it was a great feeling knowing that people were buying stuff that they voted for. Like you're the consumer. You're going to be buying this stuff. You should have a say in what's going on. I should include you. Like this is a process that I'm learning as we go and you're learning as we go. And we're going to experience all these bumps and stuff, but at least we're doing it together.
Keep doing that. There's a company I encourage you to follow called Obvi, OBVI. They're a
Okay.
collagen company. Okay. I'm friends with the owner. That's what they do. Every time there's a new flavor coming out, they do a poll because they
Okay.
have a community of like 50,000 people. And
Mhm.
that's what they do because they bring the people in, and now you feel important saying, "Oh, I helped pick that flavor." I mean, yes and no, you indirectly, directly, but that's one of their successors is whenever they have something they want to drop, or like you did a shirt, something, and the proof is in the pudding right there.
Oh yeah, exactly. And that was a part of me making a difference where I was like, you know what? My next protein powder flavor, once I get to maybe a little under 50%, the next flavor of protein powder, I'm gonna list 3 flavors. Y'all vote on which one y'all want. I will go with whatever y'all want to vote for.
Okay.
Same thing with the pre-workout. Once this first pre-workout is done, here are 3 flavors that I would like. Y'all let me know out of those 3, what would y'all prefer? And we're gonna do the
Okay.
same method. We're gonna do the same rinse and repeat. Once I get the sample, 30, 40 people are going to taste test with me to make sure that the flavor is good and all that stuff. Now, I want it to be very like for us.
Yep.
And
So now
it's,
what
I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. Sorry. I was gonna say, so you're talking pre-workout. When ideally do you think you want to drop a pre-workout? Or is it just kind of in concept?
Well, so I want to do the protein powder first, obviously, but the pre workout is I already have it set and
Okay.
I already pay for 50% down to start the production. I already pay for the labels. And
Okay.
I cannot thank Leaping Lizards enough, Leaping Lizards label, because they're so patient and they're so cooperative. Like, I'm never gonna leave their side.
Yep.
And I already paid for the labels and all that stuff. All I'm waiting for right now is just documentation for a TMLA, trademark licensing agreement.
Yep.
And I'm just waiting for that part. Once I get that part, everything else is already set in play. All I gotta do is just tell the label company, hey, we're good to print. And
Okay.
from there, that's when they can start it, get it done, and get it done quicker. But I want to have it by. I would like to have it by Black Friday. I would love to.
Wow. Okay. I thought you were gonna say maybe January, but okay.
Now, that's why I wanted to do, I did the process a little bit faster this time, because I told the manufacturer what's going to be the best way and most effective way for y'all.
Yep.
Give me a scenario that's going to work best for y'all, not on me,
Okay.
but for y'all, because y'all are going to be the ones making it. I want to work on this relationship. I want to make sure we're on a good standing, and in order for me to do that, I got to make sure, like, what is the best and worst way to go about making a manufacturer. I don't want to make it difficult for y'all. I want to make it easy for y'all. And no, they told me, get the labels ready, have the labels done. The minute you approve the sample, send us the labels, and we can get it done from there.
So one question on the pre-workout, I'm not going to ask you for any ingredients yet, because that's but high stim, mediocre, daily driver, what are you thinking?
Daily driver, low stim. As you can tell, I love energy drinks. So does everybody else. I know everybody else loves energy drinks. A lot of people are caffeine junkies. But if I'm being honest, I have a video ready. And this video kind of talks about this on a pre-workout. So just to give like a little preview, I think that a lot of these supplement companies have an overkill effect on their pre-workouts.
Okay, talk
And
about
it's
that.
kind of like a double-edged sword, because it's like you'll have like 15 ingredients. And out of all those 15 ingredients, they're not dosed all the way that you would need them to be dosed, because it would be too expensive, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So you would underdose a good amount of those, but it makes the label look pretty because you have a long list of pre-workout ingredients.
Okay.
And then also too, they have the 2-to-1 ratio, the 20-40 ratio, as far as like 20 double scoop or single scoop. So it's like whenever you want, there are certain things that you want on your pre-workout, but you can't get it until you get the double scoop. But once you get the double scoop, you're stemmed out of your mind, and you're going to end up crashing because it's a heavy stem. There's not enough nootropics to ease that stems. There's not enough nootropics to do it. And for me, I think it's a bit of marketing that they just want to do. Like, we have the most loaded pre-workout, and it's like, yeah, you have the most ingredients, but they're not all adequately dosed that you would want them to be.
Yeah. Okay.
So my pre-workout was going to be more daily driver, but it has a good amount of pump ingredients and a good amount of nootropic ingredients. Just to break down a few things, I have 200 milligrams of caffeine.
Okay.
Hot take, I think 200 milligrams of caffeine is the sweet spot of energy. 200 milligrams, it gets the job done, get you in and out. Like, we're not pulling helicopters from the sky. We're not saving people like that. We're going in to lift some weights, and we're going to get in and get out.
Okay, fair enough.
Teocrine, I have teocrine in there. I have rosea.
Yep, love it.
So 2 clean, non-stimulant energies ingredients. With a pump, I have 6 whole milligrams of L-citrulline, pure L-citrulline.
Awesome.
And that's for a single scoop.
Okay.
So that's the part that I love the most. So I was like, most of them, for you to get a 6 grams, you got a double scoop.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, no, you're not gonna double scoop. I'm gonna give you the 6 grams up front on the single scoop. I got you. I'm gonna take care of you.
Yeah.
You got agmatine sulfate. You have taurine, coenzyme Q10.
Okay.
And then for the nootropics, huperzine A, 1%.
Yep.
L-theanine and L-tyrosine.
Nice. Okay.
So, like I said, and the slogan that I might have for it is probably going to be, simplicity at its finest. There's only one trademark ingredient. The only trademark ingredient is teocrine. That's it.
Yep. Okay.
And for me, I'm like, again, another hot take. I'm not trying to, I know I'm probably going to get dragged to hell from all these hot takes that I have, but it's just honest opinions that I have. It's just that I think another marketing thing that people do is they try to get the most trademarked ingredients.
Yeah, I know we kind of went on, on one of my stories the other day about that. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't think you need to have that many trademark ingredients. I think you can do an effective, great pre-workout with just the basics. I think you can do something amazing with it with just the basics.
Okay.
And that's just my honest opinion. But yeah, like, because obviously when you get a trademark ingredient, it's going to cost more because it's a trademark ingredient, obviously.
Of
But
course.
and then you're going to end up having to dose it at a lower dosage because it's going to cost you a lot more if you get it at an adequate dose. Which
Yep.
is why they try to have like other ingredients to try, like, I guess, compensate it.
Hmm.
But no, I want to make sure I had like a back to basics, like just enough energy to get in and out, but the pump and the nootropics are going to be in like great.
Awesome. Awesome. I look forward to that. So yeah, so dropping one flavor.
Yeah. So the first flavor that we're going to go with is going to be passion fruit.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So this is another reason why I have to challenge myself. Passion fruit is a hard flavor to do
Yep.
because passion fruit is both uh like bitter and sweet and sour. Like it's a hard flavor to do.
Yep.
So for me, I was like, I got if I can do a difficult flavor and it's good, then I know people will trust me to do a basic flavor that's going to be off the wall. You know,
Yeah. I
so
can see
you
that.
kind of like set the bar high as far as like a difficult flavor, so that whenever if they're like, oh, the next flavor is going to be grape. Oh, I know if he was able to get passion fruit done, I can only imagine what grape is going to be. So yeah.
And it's tough. And I talk about this once in a while, but I think the paradigm has shifted a little bit. Coming out with flavors, it's do you play it safe and you go with something more neutral, or do you risk it and go out with a passion fruit, something just obscure. I don't mean negative obscure, and hope that it's going to go. So it's good. You're a risk taker. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to if you really stand by your brand and you really want to and you really want people to believe in you as far as the brand goes, you got to be willing to take a risk. You got to take some risk in doing it, because I mean, how else are you going to learn if let's say if it fails? At least you know where you messed up at, where you went wrong at. I would rather do that instead of just trying to play it safe every single time, because there's no real risk to reward if you're always playing it safe.
Yep. So now, okay, so let's play devil's advocate. We'll look at the crystal ball here. You drop the pre-workout, knock on wood, it goes well, and then go back to the pre-workout with the protein with another flavor, or like do you have things like kind of lined up a little bit, or is that
Yeah,
too
so
crazy?
the way I have it is it's going to be protein, pre-workout, just back and forth,
Okay,
just like that. And the shirts, for every supplement I have, there's going to be a shirt not attached to it, but just a shirt to go with it.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, perfect. Well, Juan, I've got a couple more minutes here. Hopefully, you don't have to go off yet, but I know we talked a little bit. We're going to shift gears. We might lose some listeners at this point, but I know we talked wrestling a little bit.
Oh man, let's
You know,
go.
I'm a closeted guy here, so I was big in the '90s. I watch it occasionally on the replay. I watch some of the pay-per-views on Peacock, but I'll just go straight for the hip. Let's talk about your Mount Rushmore of wrestlers.
Okay, so I hate to say this, but this is gonna be like I might end up losing you off of this. Shawn Michaels is not on my Mount Rushmore. I think Shawn
Okay.
Michaels is a mid card wrestler, a great mid card wrestler. He was never a headliner.
Okay.
I love Shawn Michaels to death, though. But yeah, so I would say Austin, of course,
Okay.
Rock, of course, Bret Hart. I think Bret Hart is the best out of all of them, obviously. Undertaker
Okay.
and Mankind.
Wow. Okay. So I feel the way with Bret Hart that you feel with Shawn Michaels. I think he's a great wrestler, but I think there was too much hype on him.
Oh
Okay.
man, no, no way, no.
I also feel the same with Ric Flair. Ric Flair, people think Ric Flair was the GOAT. I give him credit because of his 1 hour matches. The guy would do multiple 1 hour matches,
Mhm.
but he's a four what's the word I'm looking for? He's got like four moves. He's a four-move
Yeah,
pony.
and I think Ric Flair was more of a personality. He was more of a personality driven.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, he was definitely personality driven. I can't believe you said that about Bret Hart. I think Bret Hart, his heel turn, was what took him to a whole nother level to me. I had a whole different level of respect for Bret Hart when he turned heel against Austin. And Bret Hart, every time he wrestled somebody, he just made them look so good, because Bret Hart was just so extremely talented.
I think it's just even when he wrestled, I wasn't a complete fan. But now you fast forward now, and all he sees all these bitter comments from him.
Yeah.
It's like, let it go. We understand your career was cut short, but let it go and let's live the second part of your life here. And that's just me. I don't know Brett. I know he doesn't listen to the show, but that's just me.
You gotta get him on the show though, man. You have to get him on the show. And you got to have that guitar chord in the background. You have to.
Okay, is your dream match for Bret Hart, whether it's happened or who would you love to see him wrestle?
Kurt Angle.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh
Okay.
man, I would love to. I would love to see, especially whenever Kurt Angle wasn't at his best form, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Oh man, Kurt Angle on drugs and against Bret Hart at his prime. Oh my god, that would have been the best match of all time. But honestly, I think my dream match isn't even with Bret Hart. It was always Rock and Shawn Michaels.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it never happened, and there was always some backstage tension between them two. But yeah, that was the dream match that I've always wanted to see.
Okay.
And I think the closest we ever got was whenever the first episode of SmackDown, where Triple H and Rock went at it, and Shawn was the guest referee, and Shawn super kicked the Rock during the people's elbow, and they had a backstage scuffle off of that. Because they felt like Rock said that Shawn was too stiff with that kick, and looking back, I'm like, no, that does look stiff. I'll be tight.
Okay, for me, if you want to go back in the archives, and don't think little of me this, so I'm basing it on his body of work and not what he did. Okay. Chris Benoit against Bret Hart. There was a Monday Nitro they went. It was like the next night after Owen Hart died, and they put on a clinic together.
Oh yeah, no, I completely forgot about Chris Benoit. I guess the only thing with Chris Benoit though, I think that he was just, I guess size wise, it just kind of looks weird because he's really, I guess to other wrestlers he looks really short. So other people
5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, so like people tower over him, but no, I forgot about suplex game was crazy on him. Like his suplex game was crazy.
Because even Kurt Angle has said that that's one of his best matches he ever had was Chris Benoit. He brings out the best out of everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I know we talked about this. I'm going to bring it up. You didn't ask me yet about my Steve Blackman story.
Yeah, Steve Blackman.
Okay, so obviously you know who Steve Blackman is.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon.
Okay, and you know what Ken Shamrock is.
Oh yeah.
Okay, in the 90s, I take my wife to an event. Okay, and it's Steve Blackman and it's Ken Shamrock against, it might have been the New Age Outlaws. I don't remember who the other ones were, and shame on me. My wife, huge Steve Blackman fan. And if anybody's a wrestler, don't know who he is, look him up. He's a real life G.I. Joe. That's what he looks like.
Right.
Jack G.I. Joe. So my wife makes a sign that says, "Marry me, Steve Blackman." Okay. She's holding it all through the match. We're only like 4 rows up, or like really close, screaming at him. He's not paying attention. She says, "Hold this for a minute," to go grab her drink. I don't think about it. I'm literally holding it now. And Shamrock does one of these to Blackman and points right at me. And Blackman looks at me and just does one of these.
Oh, and you have the sign. Oh, man, you're about to be married.
And of course, my wife looked. I said, so I'm like pointing to my wife. I'm like, "It's her sign. It's her sign." And he's just like, "Yep, whatever, buddy, whatever." So anyway, that's my claim to fame.
That's better than nothing, man. I'll take a Steve Blackman story like that than that. Yeah, that's funny.
Best current wrestler on the roster, either anywhere currently wrestling.
You know, I can't really say because, like I said, I'm not really too in tune right now.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
I can't really say.
AJ Styles? You a fan of AJ Styles?
Well, whenever he was in TNA, absolutely. When he was in TNA, oh man, that man was he's a gift. He's definitely a gifted athlete.
Yes,
especially in TNA.
Awesome. Juan, we've had a great conversation. It's been an absolute pleasure. Is there anything else as we wind down that maybe the listeners, customers, anything don't know?
I just want to do a quick little brief explanation for people. Please. Just so they know. I offer a lifetime promo code. So the lifetime promo code, what makes it a little bit different from what other people do, where it's like the typical influencer, save 10% off. So for mine, it's a lifetime promo code that never expires. Use as much as you want. All you got to do is buy something one time. And the best part about it is that this promo code stacks on top of other sale promo codes. So like an example would be like, we had National Make a Difference sale weekend. So, you put promo code difference and it took 15% off your order. you take that lifetime promo code and you stack it on top, and it gives you an additional discount as well.
Jeez.
So most checkouts, they'll only let you do one promo code, and it'll only go with the one that has the biggest discount.
Okay.
So for me, I'm like, no, if you took a chance with me, the least I can do is give you the best bang for your buck. And to me, that's the best way to do it. You take a chance with me, I'm gonna take care of you. I'm gonna make sure you get the best discounts that you can,
Yep.
and it stacks on top of other promo codes. So all you gotta do is buy with me one time. You buy me one time, use that promo code as many times as you want. It never expires. Whenever new releases come out or new sales come out, you can use it on top. There's no issue with it. I've had a couple people already do it plenty of times, and I love seeing it.
So you're what, 2 months in? I mean, are you official like 2 months open, give or take?
Yeah, 2 months. Yeah, 2 months.
Are you okay? Transparency. Are you happy with the way things are going right now, or is it still kind of slow and steady?
It's slow and steady, but I love seeing returning customers because I have a lot of returning customers, and I love
That's
seeing
what
it.
counts.
Yeah, I've had so far. It's like a total of, I know 2 people that have bought from me 4 different times on the protein.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you didn't tell me, how was the protein bar? Did you ever try it?
You know, it's funny. I was actually just going to say that because I know people are going to reach out to me saying, "Sean, you had a bottle in your hand." So I like it a lot, and I'm being honest here because I'm a very transparent guy. I think the inclusions are a good size. They're not too big, not too small.
Mhm.
Okay, I mix it with milk. I'm not a water guy. I laugh at people that do water. I'm like,
I can't do water. I
I
can't.
want, I want thickness. I want a little bit of body to all my shakes.
Mhm.
Okay, I think it's a little thin, but I don't mean that negatively because you can definitely tell it's more on the isolate level. But
Right.
I think it's
Yeah.
got a good mouth feel. It sat great on my stomach. I did one scoop earlier for my mid morning snack, and then just before we jumped on, I had a quick one scooper with 8 ounces of almond milk.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I
sitting
used to.
well.
Yeah.
It's sitting well. It's got a little bit of body, but it's good, man. I'm not
Thank you,
blowing
man.
smoke over
I
anybody.
appreciate it, man. Like I said, I've got people that rebought from me, and man, it means a lot for you to tell me that it tastes good. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So
man, there's a reason why it took me 6 months. I want to make sure it was going to be done right.
awesome. And Juan, you didn't mention the website.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the website, if you go on my Instagram at Gainz Express LLC, the link to the website is on there, and it is gainzlifestyle.com.
And if people are listening to this on audio, it's Gainz with a Z, not with an
Correct.
S.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah. GAINZ as in zebra, Express, and yeah, gainzlifestyle.com.
Perfect. And for everybody tuning in right now, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy night. Definitely go through the archives. We had a great Mr. Olympia prediction show last night. We had Cage Nutrition on a few weeks ago. And as always, we appreciate you following and liking and subscribing to Supptalk Radio. As always, have a great week. And Juan, the door is always open, my friend. Whether you want to come on, new product launch, you want to talk shop, whatever it is, it's always open, my friend.
And I'm always going to be the first one right there. No problem. I appreciate you extending that offer to me, man.
Juan, it was a pleasure. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Yes, sir. You have a good one, man. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, everybody, and have a great night.